Well, since you like my idea so much, and my hotel getaway checklist, which you just heard, I could take you on a jacuzzi hotel getaway with you right now. I'd love it. Well, suppose I told you I was going to book us a room for us at this hotel right up the coast from where we both live. There's a hotel there with an amazing penthouse suite with a jacuzzi right out on the patio, looking over the ocean so we can watch the sunset and make out in the jacuzzi under the stars at night. Now, if it gets too cold, there's also a jacuzzi in the room too. But jacuzzis are hot, so we should be all right. Plus, the forecast said it was going to be a warm night and cool during the day. So I think we're covered either way. Hey, I'll call them and book the hotel for us, and we'll make plans to get away this weekend. How's that sound? I love it. I'm packed. I'm ready to go. I bet you are. Well, I packed all the things that I needed to set up the room. They're in the car, and we have all the food and drink items also that we need. I think we're ready to hit the road. I'm ready. Let's go. I suggested to you that I pick you up at your house, since it was on the way to our hotel getaway destination for the weekend. All you needed to do was to pack a bag with a few things in it for going out to dinner or a walk along the beach, and your personal bathroom items. That's it. Easy. Done. On the way to pick you up, I picked up a new bouquet of flowers for you. I then drove up to your place, got out, walked up to the gate that protected your complex. I called you on the intercom. You answered and opened the gate. With flowers in hand, I walked up to your door, rang the doorbell, and you opened the door with probably the biggest smile I'd ever seen you have. Yikes, it was big. Yes, like the one you have right now. He continued. There you were, standing in the doorway, all smiles, and looking as beautiful as ever. I had hid the flowers behind my back so you didn't really know I had them. When I pulled them around to show you, you lit up even more. Clasping your hands on your cheeks, you practically jumped towards me with excitement and joy. You grabbed the flowers with one hand, me with the other, and I was able to grab you too and hug you. We kissed in your doorway for a few good minutes, all while you held the flowers. Because you knew where I was taking you, you were that much more enthralled with what was going to happen to you that weekend. With me, in our jacuzzi suite, hotel getaway up the coast. It sounds so romantic, she said lightly and sighed with a smile as she lay there with her head on his chest listening. You invited me in, only for a few minutes, because your bag was already packed and waiting by the door, which I picked up for you. You grabbed your keys, and with the flowers in hand, we walked out of your place. You locked the door. Then arm in arm, we walked through the complex gate, down the few flights of stairs, and walked to my car. Upon opening the car door for you, you kissed me again. I then said, get in. Come on. You can do all that later. I always like throwing in a little humor at you from time to time. I know, but you just make me laugh so much when I'm with you. Before pulling away from your place, I looked at you after I got in the car and said, now, are you ready for this? Are you ready to be taken away on your first jacuzzi hotel suite getaway weekend vacation? To which you replied, I am. I really am. I then said, come here, motioning for you to give me another kiss before we drove away. You did, and it was a long one, might I add, with a little bit of tongue added to it. It must have been the fact that we were seated in my car, comfortable, and where no one could really see us. You'd think we hadn't seen each other in weeks or months, the way we kissed. You must have been really excited for this weekend getaway trip, eh? I know. I would be if I was really there. After our sweet mini kiss-a-thon, he continued, we drove away. We made it over to the coast highway and proceeded to drive north for several miles. Within a couple hours, we were there at the hotel to check in right around 3 p.m. Our drive up the coast was beautiful. Because we were going north, you could check out the ocean view and me, all in one view. It was a double pleasure view for you. That's always where we were going. Up the coast to a hotel by the sea, where you'd see the ocean from our jacuzzi suite, and me there in that same view with you again. It was the perfect way to prepare you and start tasting mentally what you were about to experience in just a few hours. I can only imagine. All the way up the coast, I held your hand in the car. You also smiled a lot too, all the way up. Having seen pictures of you in your past, not smiling so much, to see you smile like this must have been very wonderful for you inside. You see, I look out for things like that about you. You know about them, but often can't really do anything about them. Others don't notice you might not be happy, and they just go on with their life, while you're stuck with yourself and how you're not feeling so great. Kind of like a plant that wants to grow, but can't because it's not getting any water or sunlight. Someone, or nature, has to feed it, care for it, and help it grow. In a roundabout way, that's my job, where you're concerned. And I'm glad to be the man for the job. I want to be both your water and your sunlight. You know, you're right. Before I met you, she replied, I wasn't all that happy. I mean, I was single, alone a lot, depressed at times. I even started to see a therapist, which I'll tell you about later. The fact of the matter is, it is you who has lifted my spirits in ways no one ever could. It is you who makes me smile like I've never smiled before. It is you that I have to thank for all that and much more. Hey, when I make you smile, you make me smile. To me, that's a good deal. I agree. So, there we were, driving up the coast, as he continued telling their little story. About to pull into the hotel when your eyes opened up wide again like you did when you saw the flowers I had for you in the doorway of your apartment when I picked you up. What you saw was the most majestic hotel I had found for us to stay in. Overlooking the ocean, this hotel looked like some kind of medieval castle built back during the Victorian times. It was so elegant and romantic in all its design. You were so taken aback by its presence, you were almost speechless. I can picture it now. So, we parked. I got your bag, and mine, our getaway supplies. You grabbed your flowers, and before we walked into the hotel, I asked you to stop so I could say something to you. You did. And I said to you, what you are about to experience up in that jacuzzi hotel suite, penthouse getaway, is an experience you have never experienced before in all of your life, and one you will never, ever forget. Remember those words before we walk into this fairy tale-esque hotel of unbridled joy, okay? You looked at me, right into my eyes, paused, and said, I love you. We kissed and proceeded to walk into the hotel, knowing what our fate was that weekend, which was you and me, inseparable, in constant pleasure, until we returned to my car days later. The way you describe things, it's as if I'm actually right there with you. You are, he said with a smile. Like some ancient Venetian castle resting on the edge of a great sea, walking into the lobby of the hotel was like walking into the kind of castle you'd think was built back in the Gallo-Roman times. You'd think this one, newly built, was built in its likeness. We were told the rooms were individually decorated and furnished with 4-poster beds, crystal chandeliers, a fireplace, antique chases, Victorian-era artwork, and a huge romantic jacuzzi hot tub. Talk about your fairy tale getaway castle rooms. Oh, and our suite? Huh. On the top floor, overlooking the ocean for as far as the eye could see. It sounds so beautiful. I want to go with you to some place like that one day. Check-in was simple and fast. We entered the elevator, and within minutes, we were walking down the long hallway to our room. We were the last room at the end of the building, which I liked. In that way, you could scream as loud as you wanted when I give you multiple orgasms, and no one is really near us to hear you. Once we made it to our door, I stopped, and I looked at you one more time, and I said, "Are you sure you want to go in there? Once you go in, you can never come out until you are truly satisfied with how we will make love together and enjoy each other. Are you sure? Are you ready?" You said, "Yes, I am," in such a way that you pulled yourself close to me. I could smell your perfume in your skin. I couldn't wait to take your clothes off. I couldn't resist it any longer either, and I opened the door. We walked in. The room was bright, with all the windows looking out over an almost 180-degree view of the ocean. We saw the 4-post bed, the huge fireplace, the huge jacuzzi, the spacious patio, and other aspects of the room that jumped out at us with sheer amazement. We couldn't believe we had arrived and were about to share this entire romantic 3-night weekend getaway together in such bliss. I can't wait to go to a real hotel getaway with you when we can, honey. We can go any time. Let's do it. I'll start looking around at hotels this week for maybe a weekend trip later this month. Let's have something to look forward to, eh? Yeah. Keep going. So now that we're settled in the room, we walk out to the patio to view the ocean. The ocean breeze is warm. The sun is almost making its way down to kiss the ocean again. You never looked more beautiful than ever. We were close, holding each other, embracing the moment. I looked at you. You looked at me. We turned back to look at our room. Then you said, "Kiss me." I did, and we kissed for what seemed like forever, even though it wasn't. The kind of kiss that makes you want to go back inside, take off all your clothes, and continue that first makeout session in bed. And that's exactly what we did. It wasn't long before our lovers walked over to the bed again and began to help each other take off each other's clothes. She slowly unbuttoned the shirt he had on, while he started to slowly unzip the back of her dress. While this went on, they necked and kissed. Once his shirt was off, he helped her further take off her dress, then her bra and panties. Then, when she was fully naked, she asked him to sit down on the bed while she unbuckled his belt, only to then unbutton and unzip his jeans so she could pull them off so easily while he sat there. All that was left were his boxers, which, when she reached over to grab those, something was growing stiff underneath. "My, what do we have here?" as she fondled his growing candy cane inside his boxers. "Oh, that's a gift for you." "Well, thank you. Let me see." As she pulled down his boxers, soon out popped his long, hard candy cane, which she grabbed quickly while using her other hand to fully take off his boxers. Now she was there with him, naked, in this beyond glorious castle hotel room, with nothing more on her mind than wrapping her mouth around his lollipop. It was warm in the room, which allowed them both to feel quite comfortable in their new surroundings. As she slowly began to kiss it, lick it, and stroke it, he gestured that she climb on top of the bed so they could begin their weekend in just the right place in bed. As he moved back towards the pillows, he could see her butt start to rise in the back as she moved forward on all fours to stroke and lick his manhood. She moaned as she went up and down slowly. He could see her free hand reach towards him to clasp his free hand. He gladly accepted. After a bit, she pulled it back some, only to reach back to slide a few of her fingers along the line of her now growing wet little pussycat. She was checking, and yep, it was getting wet. She pulled her hand away and reached back to his hand and touched it. He could feel the juice she had just sampled from her moist, wet cherry box of moist, wet love and thought, yep, she's getting wet. I know what that means. Taking a break from licking his candy cane, you looked up, licked your lips, and said, I want you inside me. I want you to stick it in me. Without words, he slowly grabbed her, helped her pull the covers back, laid her down on her back, and as he began to kiss her, he maneuvered his sex caliber just outside her now dripping, wet, moist cherry box. He reached for her hand to grab it, to help him slide it on in perfectly, right inside her. This wouldn't be a long lovemaking session per se, as they still had much work to do and look forward to, setting up the room. This was just sort of a appetizer. Yeah. Continuing with this jacuzzi suite castle getaway erotic adventure, he picked up to say, with you underneath me, I'd say to you, how does this feel? And you'd reply, it feels good. We'd kiss some more, and well, our weekend of love and romance got off to a great start. Still, he believed in teasing her some with his rock-hard member, now inside her, leaving her wanting more, and something for them both to look forward to as he pulled it out in a few minutes of some fresh injection friction, vaginal stimulation. Is that what you wanted? My rock-hard member inside you? He said to her with a smile.